We started with literally 4 people. And then we've sold that business. Technically, the ideas and the product we have invented has 0 clients. And technically, we've raised from 1 Scandinavian fund and 1 American fund. Now, Kiev, like how far is this from Stanford or Palo Alto, right? Is this like 10 miles, 20 miles? The local VCs are not investing for the companies which are headquartered more than 30 miles out of Palo Alto. Travel like a hell, travel a lot. If we're talking about Silicon Valley, I would say that the bare minimum for you to to conduct an active social life like you should be doing as an entrepreneur is maybe like $5,000 a month. That's probably the minimum. I love that market for its unique ability to buy things.
Today we are going to interview one of my friends here in Silicon Valley, Vlad. And Vlad is the founder and CEO of Invisible.io. So Vlad has been a CEO of this company for 12 years and you have more than 100 of employees, right?
Correct, yeah, that's true.
So Invisible was your first company?
No, it wasn't first company. The first company we've started with my current partner, by the way. We've started with him the previous company, which was doing software outsourcing services. We started with literally 4 people. 2 of us, like CEO, but very active, doing stuff CEO, and then we hired a couple of more, and then more and more and more. We ended up like 150 people at the peak, and then we've sold that business. So that was a very nice exit for us, and that actually also gave us a lot of desire and excitement at that moment, but also confidence in ourselves that hey, I mean we can do stuff. So the first one business was the service business, which is probably much easier to start rather than any product business, any manufacturing business, if you would. In software development, we call it product development. Obviously, because when you do services, it's much shorter life cycle of from the beginning of work till the money you get in your bank account, and it's important. It's important to, if you don't have rounds, if you don't have initial funding, it's important to be self-sustainable. So we started having nothing, only our desire and wish and dream. We've started from services, and then we evolved once we developed some kind of under the skin fat, if you would, in a good sense, then we were able to spend that fat on something new.
But that company was based in Ukraine.
Correct. The first one company was solely based in Ukraine, even though the market was global. We would serve European companies first of all, then we would serve American companies. So it was an international experience for us, but all the employees, everything was in Ukraine.
And then you started a new business also in Ukraine, and then you moved it to the States.
You may say that. I would probably say that the new business was not after the first one. It was the natural and normal evolution of our first business. Because when we were doing services, at some point we realized that we want to do something more, and we probably have ability and funds to do that, and we wanted to kind of step out of services for the others to our own ideas into the product, and then we sell that product to the others, which is better margins, better scale, better even the feedback from people. So we were trying, while we were having service business, we were trying this and that. We were trying to build one product, the other product. Many of them failed. Let's be honest, because sometimes you think that's something which other people would need, but then it's not the case. Nobody needs this, or maybe you don't know how to sell, or maybe you're doing a bad job in selling that. But anyway, so just some of our product initiatives were popping up and kind of taking off. And then we've done spin-off. So what we've done is my partner, Konstantin, he stayed with the service company for a year and a half maybe. And then I took off as the CEO of a new business, even though we're both co-founders of both ventures. And then we started to build product business next to our service business. However, the second company, the product company, was always oriented on Ukrainian market. Technically, the ideas and the product we have invented has 0 clients in Ukraine, at least had at that time. Now we have some. So we always wanted to be international, and that's probably what helped us a lot. Because when you focus on something that defines your DNA one way or the other, and that happened to us. So we've built that business with the ambition to go global. And even though first employees were in Ukraine, we were always serving the international customers, and then as soon as we've got the ability to become an international company by location, we did that as well.
And when did you decide that you're ready to move to the States?
As soon as we've got funds to do that, though. So, like, as I have mentioned, from the very beginning, we wanted to be global, and we understood that our major customers are here in US or in Western Europe. So we needed, one way or the other, the representative office. But it was all, you know, kind of funds versus ability to do that type of an issue. As soon as we've realized that, yeah, we have a product and we probably have enough money, at least for some first periods, to be there, literally we started to come here first for longer periods to meet local potential customers, partners, investors. I've done maybe 2 or 3 trips here, literally traveling to here. And then I've decided that, look, I mean, we do need to have a presence, because, you know, you meet people, you start talking, you schedule follow-up, but then you have a ticket back home tomorrow. And then, you know, today it's actually much better in terms of the, you know, like conversations over the web, screen sharing, being on a conf call, even on a video call. That helped a lot, but still, though, nothing can change, you know, the face-to-face meetings. And even though if we talk about the sales cycles, yeah, you may start the sales cycle from remote. You may probably even close the business from remote, but at some point you need to meet your prospects or your customers. It helps you a lot. So yeah, the decision was as soon as we could do that, we moved here. Yeah.
Is there like a certain time in a year where is the best time to come to United States, like to raise money, for example? Fall.
Yeah, everybody after summer, everybody wakes up. And then this is where the trade shows are, you know, booming. This is where all of those relationships are being developed. Then people are heads down to the end of a year, even though it's not financial year, but calendar year is still though. So many things are, you know, being kind of tied to that. Plus also the holiday season starts. After Thanksgiving, the business kind of goes down.
So the timeline was you established the company in Ukraine, and then you came to the US to find your customers and to raise capital?
Simplified, that was the way. So establish the company in Ukraine, had an idea, prototype that idea, build the product which seemed to work on us, right? And we came here with the prototype showcasing this to the others. We've got very good press, very good feedback, and we're like, okay, good. I mean, people are saying that it's needed. Then we came back and improved the product, so we've got the first MVP, as you would, something which would be, we would be not afraid to give to the others and let them try. We did this, and that actually brought us much closer to the paying customers, like, okay, now we need to start selling. And obviously all of the paying customers are here in US or in Western Europe, but that's much bigger, larger market. So then we came here with, first of all, with the trade show. So we came for the trade show with the booth. We've got that, you know, representations. And that was our first selling point. And then I came back home for a week, packed my suitcase, and came back here because all of the follow-ups and all of the further meetings and round and everything was here.
And you also found your investors here?
Here and back in Europe, by the way. So today it's even much easier. I would say that it doesn't matter at all. You know, well, the companies are global, the capital is global, the markets are global. You may have very, very niche offering, and obviously if you try to, you know, run your business, you know it much better where your sweet spot is. But I would say in majority of the businesses today, it doesn't really matter where you are, and doesn't really matter what capital are you raising, as long as if it's a good capital and it helps you. So even back then, we would talk to European VCs, American VCs, and we've got pretty good feedback from both of them. And technically, we've raised from one Scandinavian fund and one American fund. By the way, what I want to say as part of the lesson learned, thanks God, not my lesson, I never did that, but I've seen so many people doing this wrongly, mess up with the paperwork. Like, just don't do that. I mean, if you are coming here, make sure that you're coming here at the right visa type, that you are honest in all of the senses. You are not playing double game. Because first of all, you just don't need that, and second, you never know when it's going to end up like a problem for you one way or the other. So be honest and make sure that you work here legally, you are here legally, and your presence here corresponds to the type of the visa you have, etc. If you do it right, then you'll have an ability to either stay or go back. I still have that choice to be made, and I haven't yet decided. So.
Did the American investors tell you that you guys need to be present here, the company has to be established in the United States?
At that point, back then, 12 years ago, it was pretty much an issue. We've got enough feedback which were saying like, you know, Kiev, like how far is this from Stanford or Palo Alto, right? It was like, is this like 10 miles, 20 miles? At that time, I even remember there was a phrase in Silicon Valley that the local VCs are not investing for the companies which are headquartered more than 30 miles out of Palo Alto, right, out of University Street. Now it's a history. It's just a history. Nothing like that has happened anymore. Yeah, so I mean, if you are close enough to your customers, and in today connected world, that could be very broad definition. If you are connected to your customers, you'll find your business, you'll find your growth point. The beauty of being here, it's obviously proximity to the business, because meeting face to face is important. It's more important, it's a proximity to ecosystem, because what you need as an entrepreneur, you need a second opinion, a third, a fourth, a 10th opinion. You need to absorb all of those feedbacks from other folks. You need to learn from them. You need to pitch them to get the feedback, not necessarily to sell them. And there is no better place than Silicon Valley for software development business to be in, to be able to do that. Now we see other regions are also, you know, growing. And the talent is being extremely expensive here, so more and more companies are trying to kind of establish their presence anywhere else. But still though, if you are just kicking off your business and what you are looking for is references, feedback, coaching, advices, there is no better place than to be here, even besides the customer story, just the advisory kind of a mentorship story.
So what part of the company is located in Kiev, and what part of the company?
I would say that still majority of the company is in Ukraine, because we have R&D office there, we have our support services, we have our customer success management still there. What we have here and in Kiev also, it's kind of spread. That's the customer facing services, meaning sales, business development, a bit of a customer success management, you know, like those functions of the company which needs to be closer to customers, they're actually here.
And how do you manage being both in Kiev and in Silicon Valley?
Travel like a hell, travel a lot. You should be where your market is, where you have to be, or where you will get the biggest, you know, value. Not necessarily in terms of the money, not necessarily in terms of I'm going there to close the deal or raise the fund. Meet people, get the feedback, get the inspiration maybe, or even come back to your garage in a good sense where the magic happens and deliver back to those people which are in garage the inspiration you've just learned after being in a conference somewhere in Singapore. Why not?
How do you manage to motivate your team, you know, because you're always away and they're on their own, like doing the R&D and software development, but how do you like motivate them? Hey guys, this is what we need to iterate there and there, like.
Yeah, so the you know, communication is very important, and we pay a lot of attention to that. So by all the senses, we try to grab our, you know, back office people, and when the case permits, bring them in front of a customer, not necessarily as a primary communicator resource, but at least as a secondary, to listen to the conversation, to get the feel of a customer. Vice versa, we have even condition of employment for our US-based employees that from time to time they have to go back to Kiev and spend some time in Kiev and talk with local people, bring them knowledge, etc. So I'm not the only one who is, you know, bringing knowledge or transferring the knowledge between those locations or across the border, if you would. But yeah, conversations and communications are still a very important part of our life. I think nothing will ever change it. Whatever technology we have, looking, you know, eye to eye and have ability to chat after the meeting itself, like go grab a beer or, I don't know, do a hike and chat with people, that's very important. So yeah, we should travel. We do travel.
How do you support your community? Like entrepreneurs or people who are coming from Ukraine, for example, to US, do you support them?
Oh yeah, and I'm very proud of my, you know, fellow Ukrainians here in the area. We actually have a very strong community here, and we help each other a lot. And I seriously love it, because I think, you know, if you are by yourself, you still have a chances to succeed. But if you're getting any kind of a help, your chances are much higher. And I'm proud that Ukrainians here in the area, they're actually, first of all, they gathered together, they started to discuss how they can help our country, how they can help folks from our country which are coming here. So there are a ton of different kind of a help, from accommodation, and here's my car because I don't need this, and you are here for a week, grab and use it, to introductions, to advices, to lawyers, accountants, you know, you're looking for the nice guy for a sales position, I know the guy, those type of things. So yeah, we're doing a lot, and now I think that we are very close to start doing even more. We are here, Americans, I mean the Ukrainians of Bay Area, we are trying to come back to our country with something more valuable than sporadic help to people who are coming here. We want to bring more businesses from America to Ukraine, to embrace the local ecosystem. We want to bring the capital one way or the other, and there are some things of doing that. Yeah, so first it was awareness problem, just like in business. Nobody knows you, awareness problem for locals, then they know you, but then what do you have to offer, and then how do you scale? So pretty much the same. Yeah, and Ukrainians are doing a lot, and I'm looking forward that they will be doing even more than they're doing today.
Would you suggest to people who are having their business and it's pretty much developed to try the US market?
For sure. That's the biggest one, first of all. Plus, I love that market for its unique ability to buy things. Everybody are saying that Americans are so good in selling stuff, right? I would add this, that Americans are very good in buying stuff. That market is brave enough to jump on innovation, try to adopt this, and even if it fails, nobody will say like, well, I'll never try again from that vendor. Most of all, they will go for 2.0 version, for a second version, because if they tried the first one, it means that they liked the concept, they liked the idea of the product you were trying to build, etc. And failure here in States is never a bad sign. Failure is just an experience, because if you then try to recover and if you still try to build what you are trying to build, people would respect that. And from that standpoint, I think US market is very, very appealing, was, is, and will be. And if you are trying to build any business, you should either have representation here or even headquarter here, one way or the other. I mean, obviously there are businesses which are very niche, and US market is just not shaped for that. I mean, well, you name it. There are enough of those businesses, and they're very successful in other countries, but there is no space for them in US. But if your business is somehow global or doesn't really depend on cultural things or location or anything, then you should make sure that you can work here.
What are the 3 things that you were so scared or overthought but never happened to you?
Cultural difference. I thought that it's so hard to come into the country where you are not local and sell something and be local and kind of talk to people, etc. And obviously, language problems. My English was by far not enough to make a nice sales pitches. Okay.
How did you improve it?
Through talking. I mean, that's how you do it 100 times, and then you're slightly better than the first time, and that's how you do it. But the beauty of it, so why? Okay, I was afraid of it, right? So I was afraid of a cultural difference. I was afraid of my language and ability to kind of talk in nice English one way or the other, and then I was slightly afraid of that. That the businesses or the customers in US would not buy from the company which is by God not American company, but it's kind of obvious that we are foreigners coming here selling services and trying to compete with local service providers or product providers, and I was afraid that that would be an issue. So those 3 failed completely, right? So first, I mean, failed my fear failed, but nothing to fear.
And what are the 3 top things that you never thought that could happen, but they actually happened?
My biggest challenge was, which I totally didn't expect, is the ability to drop all of the things which are happening back there and stop working overnight, being on the phone at 2 a.m. and talk to local office. Just stop it and start doing things here. Go out of your cage, if you would, and start meeting people, start talking people, etc. So for me, it was a big life changer to learn how to do that. But once I've learned it, it was a game changer for us, one way or the other. So
how did you put your responsibilities that you needed to carry?
You know what I've learned for myself, maybe hard way, and I encourage everybody to learn it in a soft way and just listen to the others. I figured out that if you trust people, they sometimes do better than you. So you know what, if I don't do things, but things needs to be done, there is always somebody who step up. And by the way, that's your future leader. That's how do you pick up the people in your company who are growing much faster than the others. One more thing I would say that I would not thought that it's gonna be as it was. It was the cost of things, I would say. I wouldn't say cost of living, but the cost of things. So I realized how expensive it is, to meet somebody at the restaurant and then pay for the bill, to get the car, to pay for the insurance, to do this and this and this and this. In my expectations, it had to be slightly cheaper, I would say. But you know what? In the end, I realized that, well, it's not even my thought. That's my board member told me that, Vlad, you should remember there are no expensive things. There are ineffective things. So
What does that mean?
well, it means that if you paid $1 million for something, but you've got back in terms of a value $2 million, it was actually a very nice investment. Versus if you've got something for 1,000, but you've got 0 in return, that's waste of money. You wasted that 1,000. So, you know, it's not the price, but the return of investment, what does matter. But again, for me coming here, and you know, my expectation were that for that amount of money, I'm going to be able to do here this and this and this. In fact, it was like 3 times less things I was able to do for that money that I saw. But then again, I mean, you just need to get used to that. You understand that things are slightly more expensive than you anticipate, and then, well, for me it was a problem.
You mentioned that you didn't expect that you're gonna spend that much money. How much money is enough, do you think, for the person to come to US and like start networking and building their connections and stay in US for like some time? Let's say
sure, yeah, it all depends on the territory, right? You are coming to New York or to San Francisco area or anywhere else. If we're talking about Silicon Valley, I would say that the bare minimum for you to, you know, to conduct an active social life like you should be doing as an entrepreneur is maybe like $5,000 a month. That's probably the minimum, because you need to have a place, you need to have a car, or Uber frequently, you need to, you know, pay the bills in the restaurants. Yourself, you could be way more efficient, but if you want to be social, sometimes you need to get the check, you know, and sometimes you need to kind of sponsor people who are you're inviting, etc. So I would say bare minimum of 5,000 a month. That's affordable.
Let's say that your business is somewhere local in a different country, and then you're trying to move to US to move your business here. Whom else do you need here to support you, like salespeople to go find your clients? That's obvious. Who else do you need to be, you know?
I would put it in broader term. It's a business development, one way or the other. Okay. And then, depending why you are coming here, you may come here to adjust your product offering to the local market specifics. Okay. Then you need customer advisory board, or you may need, you know, the chief product officer, which you will find here and get on board and work with him. Or you're coming here to start selling in the US market. Then obviously your path is VP of sale, and then you work with the salespeople, etc. There may be a ton of other reasons why are you here and what you are trying to build here. But whatever you are doing, the most important, it's people. You need to meet those people. That's why conferences, events, small talks, even social activities like some sports or hiking or whatever. Remember, Silicon Valley is full of those guys which are very probable in the same industry with you. You can easily go to Starbucks and hear people talking the language you understand. I mean, professional language you understand, right? They will talk those terms. They will talk about their office life, but you'll hear yourself in that conversation, right? So there are a ton of those people, and you never know. You may go to somebody's birthday or somebody's, you know, warm-up party or whatever, and meet your partner for the rest of your life, business partner. But you should be looking for that. You should have that set. And answering to your question, who do you need here? You need yourself with open eyes and open mouth. So you talk to people who you are, you let them express who they are, open-mindedly accept that, and you spread your idea, collecting the feedback, and one way or the other, you'll find those guys who will tell you like, hey, I love what you do, but probably if you try this, it would work better for you. They are your indirect and free, by the way, advisors. Or the best case, you'll find people like, I love what you do, let's do it together. Or I can help you, or consider me, depending on your offering, right? And that's I think the best. So coming here and thinking that because I'm here I can sell more, or coming here and thinking like because I'm here we could do better product, we could do better service, doesn't work that way. It's all about people, and you need to kind of grow in terms of the relationships here. Silicon Valley is all about people.